The human scout ship broke apart in silence. No explosion. No flame. Just a sudden bloom of metal fragments tumbling through the void, each piece catching starlight as it spun away from what had been a vessel moments before. Prince Kael'thor watched from the command deck of the Crimson Ascent, his forearms crossed in satisfaction. His brother, Prince Vexeron, stood beside him, mandibles clicking with pleasure. "Primitive," Vexeron said. "They didn't even attempt evasive patterns." 3 more signatures detected, their tactical officer announced. "Human scouts, same class? Grid positions transmitted to weapons control." Kael'thor activated the fleet channel. "Engage at will. Leave nothing." The Zatari hunting fleet moved like a blade through water. 17 warships, each crewed by the Empire's finest, each armed with plasma lances that could pierce a moon. They'd been tracking these human scouts for 6 cycles, ever since the pathetic creatures had stumbled into the Outer Reach territories. The humans had sent no warnings, made no demands. Their ships simply appeared in Zatari space, scanning, observing, violating sovereignty with their presence. So the princes had been dispatched. Not because humans were threats. Because they were pests that needed extermination before the Queen heard of the intrusion. Another human ship died. Then another. "They're not fighting back," an officer noted, confusion in his voice. "They can't," Kael'thor said. "Look at those hulls. Barely armored. Weapons that wouldn't scratch our shields. They're explorers, not warriors." "Then why send them here?" "Arrogance," Vexeron answered. "They think the galaxy welcomes them. They need to learn it doesn't." The 4th scout lasted 30 seconds longer than the others. It attempted to flee, engines burning white-hot as it vectored toward the edge of the system. The Zatari ships pursued with casual efficiency. When the plasma lances fired, the scout's drive section evaporated. The rest tumbled dead through space. "Scan for survivors," Kael'thor ordered. "None detected, Highness. The humans don't use escape pods. Structural integrity suggests they die with their ships." "Foolish," Vexeron said. "But honorable in a primitive way." Kael'thor moved to the communications station. "Transmit our success to the homeworld. Mark this system as cleansed. We'll patrol the border for 3 more cycles, then return for the victory celebration." The message went out on quantum channels, faster than light, reaching across the light years to the Zatari core worlds. It would reach the Queen's palace within hours. She would be pleased. The princes had protected the Empire from foreign contamination. They didn't know about the 5th scout. It had been there the entire time, holding position 3 light minutes away, passive sensors recording everything. No active scans. No energy signatures. Just watching. The human ship's name was Witness Protocol. Inside, 3 crew members sat in absolute silence as the data streamed across their displays. "Got it all?" Commander Sarah Chen asked. "Every second," her sensor tech replied. "Visual, tactical, weapons discharge patterns, ship configurations, communication frequencies. Transmission status? Burst already sent. Terra received it 4 minutes ago." Chen nodded slowly. She'd watched 4 crews die. 23 people. She'd watched and done nothing because that was the mission. Scout. Record. Survived to report. The Zatari fleet was already moving away, celebrating their easy victory over unarmed survey vessels. "Set course for the jump point," Chen said. "Silent running. I want us gone before they remember to check their sensor shadows." The Witness Protocol slipped away like smoke in darkness. On Earth, in a bunker beneath Geneva, Admiral Marcus Webb stood before a holographic display showing the Zatari attack. Behind him, 70 military officers from every nation sat in grim silence. "They didn't even hail us," someone said. "They treated our people like target practice," another added. Webb replayed the footage. "Watch the Survey 3 die. Watch Lieutenant Park's ship break apart. Watch the Explorer's hope burn." "Recommendations?" he asked. The room erupted. Voices called for retaliation, for military action, for making the aliens pay. Webb raised one hand. Silence fell. We sent unarmed scouts into unknown space, he said. We knew the risks. Every crew volunteered. So we do nothing? I didn't say that. Webb zoomed the display to show the Zatari warships in detail. We now know what we're facing. Their weapons, their tactics, their arrogance. They think we're primitives. They think we're weak. We are weak, someone said. Those are military vessels. We don't have anything that can match them. Webb smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. We don't need to match them, he said. We just need to make them regret underestimating humanity. He turned to his staff. Activate the Sentinel Protocol. I want every ship we have equipped for combat operations within 6 months. Pull our scouts back from alien space, all of them. If anyone asks why we're militarizing, tell them we encountered hostile forces. What about the Zatari? Do we respond? Not yet. Let them think they won. Let them celebrate. Let them forget we exist. Webb's expression hardened. But when we do respond, I want it to be with overwhelming force. I want it to be so devastating that every alien species in this region learns one simple truth: humanity protects its own. The hologram showed the Zatari fleet departing the system, leaving debris and bodies in their wake. Those princes just made the worst mistake of their lives, Webb said quietly. They taught us what they're capable of. Now we'll teach them what happens when you murder humans. The room remained silent. Orders were drafted. Ships were recalled. A galaxy that had been full of wonder and possibility had just become a battlefield. And somewhere in the void, Prince Kael'thor received commendations from his queen, unaware that he'd just signed his empire's death warrant. 6 months later, the witness protocol returned to the same system. This time it wasn't alone. Commander Chin sat in her chair, watching the tactical display populate with friendly signatures. 47 ships? Not scouts. Not explorers. Warships, every one of them, built in secret across 100 orbital yards while Earth's finest minds had studied the Zatari technology and found its weaknesses. Detecting Zatari patrol vessels. Her sensor tech reported. Same configuration as before. 3 ships, light destroyer class. Range? 2 light minutes and closing. They've detected us. Chen activated fleet communications. All ships, this is witness. Hold formation. Wait for them to get within weapon range. The Zatari ships approached with confidence. Why wouldn't they? They'd slaughtered human scouts here. These would be no different. Except they were. The lead Zatari destroyer opened fire first, plasma lances reaching across the void. The human formation scattered, each ship executing evasive patterns with precision that made the alien weapons miss by kilometers. Then, the humans returned fire. Not with plasma. Not with lasers. With railguns that fired depleted uranium slugs at relativistic speeds. With missile pods that released hunter-killer drones. With weapons designed specifically to counter everything humanity had learned from watching their people die. The first Zatari destroyer lost its shields in 3 seconds. Its hull came apart in 5. The second ship managed to broadcast a distress signal before it died. The third attempted to flee. Chen's expression never changed. Pursuit course. No survivors. The human fleet ran down the fleeing destroyer like wolves chasing wounded prey. When it died, its wreckage joined its companions. System secure, Chen announced. Establish defensive perimeter. Send the message. The message went out on every Zatari frequency they'd recorded. It was simple. Direct. Translated into their language with perfect accuracy. You killed our scouts. We've come for the princes. The response came within an hour. Not from the princes. From the homeworld. From the palace itself. Queen Syracuse watched the transmission in her throne room, surrounded by advisors and military commanders. The hologram showed human ships, dozens of them, occupying the system where her sons had won their glorious victory. "What are these creatures?" she demanded. "Humans, Majesty," her intelligence minister said. "A species from the far rim. We encountered them months ago. The princes eliminated their scouts. And now they've returned with warships." The Queen's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "How did primitives build a fleet capable of destroying our destroyers?" "We don't know, Majesty. Our analysis suggests they learned from observing our weapons. They adapted. In 6 months? Impossible. Yet it happened." The Queen stood, her full height impressive even among her kind. "Where are my sons?" "The princes are currently stationed at the forward base in the Kethros sector, Majesty. They're commanding the, recall them. Immediately. If these humans want revenge, they'll go there next." She turned to her military council. "How many ships can we deploy to defend that base?" 40 warships, Majesty. The Third Fleet can be repositioned within, do it. And send a message to these humans. Tell them we're willing to negotiate. Majesty, the Empire doesn't negotiate with. The Empire doesn't usually face enemies who learn this quickly. The Queen interrupted. "I want to understand what we're dealing with before committing to full war. Send the message." The message reached the human fleet. Chin read it, and immediately forwarded it to Admiral Webb. His response came back within minutes. "Decline. Continue mission." Chin smiled. "Helm, plot course for Kethros sector. Battle speed. I want to arrive before they can properly reinforce." The human fleet moved out, leaving the conquered system behind. Each ship carried crew members who'd trained for this moment, who'd volunteered knowing the risks, who'd sworn to make the Zatari understand that humanity wasn't prey. Behind them, the Zatari scrambled to respond. Fleets mobilized. Defensive positions prepared. The Queen sent urgent messages to her sons, warning them that an enemy unlike any they'd faced was coming. Prince Kael'thor received the message with disbelief. "The humans? The scouts we destroyed? How?" "The Queen believes they're seeking revenge, Highness," his aide explained. "They've claimed they're coming for you specifically." Vexeron laughed. "Let them come. We have an entire military base here. 40 ships will arrive within days. These humans will learn the difference between killing a few destroyers and facing the true might of the Zatari Empire." But Kael'thor didn't laugh. He remembered something about those scouts. How they'd died without fighting. How they'd seemed almost helpless. "What if that was intentional?" he said quietly. "What? What if they sent weak ships deliberately? What if they wanted us to destroy them so they could study us?" Vexeron's mandibles stopped clicking. "That's an insane tactic." "Is it? We learned everything about them from that engagement. What if they learn everything about us?" The brothers looked at each other, and for the first time, something like worry crossed their faces. "Increase patrols," Kael'thor ordered. "Maximum alert status. And send a message to the Queen. Tell her we need those reinforcements immediately." The message went out. But the reinforcements were still 3 days away. The human fleet was already in system. Commander Chen studied the tactical display. The Kethros base sat in orbit around a gas giant, its shields strong, its weapons numerous. Dozens of patrol ships circled it in defensive formations. "They're ready for us," her tactical officer noted. "They think they are," Chen corrected. "Weapons free. Execute pattern vengeance." The human ships split into 3 groups. The first group engaged the patrol ships directly, trading fire in brutal close-quarters combat. The second group launched missile volleys at the base's shields, forcing them to divert power to defense. The third group did something the Zatari hadn't expected. They targeted the gas giant itself. Not the planet. The atmosphere. Specially designed munitions dove into the roiling clouds and detonated at precise depths, igniting chain reactions in the hydrogen-rich layers. The explosions propagated through the atmosphere, creating a shockwave that rippled outward like a stone in a pond. The shockwave hit the base's position 8 minutes later. Not hard enough to destroy it, but hard enough to disrupt the shields, to scatter the defensive formations, to create chaos. That's when the human ships moved in. Chen's vessel led the charge, railguns firing continuously, missiles streaking toward weak points identified by their tactical computers. Around her, 46 other human ships did the same, coordinating with precision that came from months of drilling, from learning every lesson the Zatari had inadvertently taught them. The base's shields failed in sections. Hull breaches bloomed like flowers. Zatari's ships broke formation, trying to respond to threats coming from every direction. And on the base itself, in the command center, Prince Kael'thor watched his defenses crumble, and understood with terrible clarity that his brother had been wrong. The humans hadn't come to fight the Zatari Empire. They'd come to teach it a lesson. "Evacuate the base," he ordered. "All personnel to escape pods. Now." "Highness, we can still, now." Kael'thor's voice cut through the chaos. "They're not here to conquer. They're here to send a message. I won't let everyone die delivering it." Vexaron stared at his brother. "We're princes of the Zatari Empire. We don't flee. We're also sons of the Queen. She needs to know what we learned here." Kael'thor grabbed his brother's arm. "These humans aren't primitives. They're apex predators who just taught us we're prey. The Queen needs to know that before she makes this worse." The evacuation began. Pods launched from the base as human ships tore it apart piece by piece. Chen watched them go and made no move to pursue. Her orders were clear: destroy the base, eliminate military capability, but allow survivors. Because Webb wanted witnesses. He wanted someone to go back to the Queen and describe exactly what humanity could do when provoked. The base broke apart over 3 hours. By the end, nothing remained but debris and the fleeing escape pods carrying 2 humiliated princes. Chen transmitted one final message to the retreating Zatari. "You killed 23 humans. We destroyed your forward base and killed no one. Remember this difference when you decide whether to continue this conflict." Then, the human fleet departed, leaving the Kethros sector in ruins. The escape pods were recovered by Zatari's ships 2 days later. Prince Kael'thor and Prince Vexaron returned to the homeworld in disgrace, their fleet destroyed, their base obliterated, their reputation shattered. They stood before Queen Syracas in the throne room, heads bowed, expecting execution. Instead, she asked one question. "What did you learn?" Kael'thor raised his eyes to meet hers. "That humanity is far more dangerous than we believed, Majesty. They're not just technologically adaptive. They're psychologically sophisticated. They studied us, learned our weaknesses, and executed their revenge with precision that suggests a warrior culture we vastly underestimated. And yet they let you live." "Yes, Majesty. I believe they wanted us to deliver this message. They're capable of mercy, but they're also capable of total destruction. The choice of which we face is ours." The Queen sat in silence for a long moment. Around her, advisors waited nervously. "Your father would have executed you for this failure," she finally said. "But I am not my father. You made a mistake born of ignorance, and you survived to correct it. That has value." She leaned forward. "What is your counsel, my son? Do we escalate this conflict or do we seek peace with these humans?" Vexaron started to speak, but Kael'thor cut him off. "We seek peace, Majesty. Not because we're weak, but because war with humanity will cost more than we can afford. They sacrifice their own people to learn how to defeat us. What else are they willing to sacrifice?" His voice carried absolute conviction. "We thought we were teaching them their place. Instead, they taught us that the galaxy has changed. Underestimating unknown species is no longer a survivable mistake." The Queen nodded slowly. "Then, we will send an envoy. And you, my son, will accompany them. You started this war. You will help end it." 6 weeks later, a Zatari diplomatic vessel approached Earth. Aboard it, Prince Kael'thor watched humanity's homeworld grow larger in the viewport, and felt something he never experienced before: respect mixed with caution. The negotiations took place on a neutral station at the edge of human space. Admiral Webb represented humanity. Queen Syracuse sent Kael'thor and her most senior diplomat. Webb opened the discussion with characteristic bluntness. You murdered our scouts. We destroyed your military installation. We're even. The question is whether we stay even or whether you want to see what happens when humanity fights without restraint. The Zatari diplomat began a formal response, but Kael'thor interrupted. Admiral, I was the one who gave the order to fire on your scouts. I take full responsibility. If you require a life for those lost, take mine. Webb studied the prince for a long moment. If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. What I want is for your empire to understand that humanity isn't going anywhere. We're part of this galaxy now. You can accept that peacefully, or we can keep demonstrating it violently. Your choice. We choose peace, Kael'thor said. With one condition. Which is? We exchange military liaisons. You station observers on our ships. We station observers on yours. Full transparency. If either side violates the treaty, the observers report it immediately. Webb raised an eyebrow. You'd let humans onto your military vessels? After what you did at Kethros? Yes. I want your people to see that we're honorable. And I want my people to learn from yours. Maybe it prevents the next war. Kael'thor met Webb's eyes. You taught us we made a mistake. Give us the chance to correct it properly. Webb considered this. Then, he extended his hand. Deal. But know this, Prince. If your empire breaks this treaty, if you harm even one more human without cause, what happened at Kethros will look like mercy. Kael'thor took the offered hand. Understood, Admiral. And I suspect my mother will want to thank you. Thank me? For destroying your base? For teaching the Empire a lesson it desperately needed. We've conquered every species we've encountered for 3 generations. We'd forgotten what it means to face equals. The prince's expression was solemn. You reminded us. Painfully. But necessarily. The treaty was signed within the week. Trade agreements followed. Cultural exchanges began. Slowly, carefully, 2 species that had started as enemies began building something that might become friendship. In the royal palace, Queen Syracuse read the reports and made a private note in her personal logs. The humans are not primitives. They are survivors who learn faster than any species we've encountered. They turned our strength against us and showed mercy when they could have shown cruelty. Future rulers must remember this. Humanity defeated us not with superior technology, but with superior adaptability. They are dangerous because they refuse to remain weak. On Earth, Admiral Webb made his own note. We've made peace with the Zatari, but there are other species out there. Some will be allies. Some will be threats. Kethros taught us that humanity can fight and win against superior forces if we're smart enough to learn from our enemies. Keep that lesson close. We might need it again. And on a small monument outside the Geneva military complex, 23 names were carved in stone. The crews of the scout ships that had died so humanity could learn what it faced. Below their names, a simple inscription. They explored so we could understand. They sacrificed so we could prepare. They died so humanity could survive. Commander Sarachin visited that memorial every year on the anniversary of the Kethros battle. She'd stand there for an hour, remembering faces, voices, people who'd known the risks and accepted them anyway. We made it count. She'd tell them quietly. Your deaths weren't meaningless. You changed everything. And in the vast galaxy beyond, where hundreds of species watched and wondered about these strange humans who'd appeared so suddenly, the lesson echoed across every communication channel, every diplomatic meeting, every military briefing. Humanity had fought its first interstellar war and won not through superior firepower, but through superior thinking. The Zatari princes had fought humanity's scouts and lost everything they believed about the galaxy's hierarchy. And their queen had taken careful note. She wasn't the only one watching. Other empires, other civilizations, other species saw what happened at Kethros and made their own calculations. Some sought alliance. Some maintained cautious distance. All of them learned the same fundamental truth: humanity might be new to the stars, but they belonged there. Years later, a young Zatari officer would ask Prince Kael'thor about that first war. The prince, now one of his mother's senior military advisors, would give the same answer every time. We thought we were teaching them their place. Instead, they taught us ours. And the galaxy is better for it. Human text missing?